The future is now. Mafftopia, save with crypto too. It's Mafftopia news, speed run brought to you. Fascinating science news. Fascinating science news.
Okay, here we go. Welcome, welcome. I was busy enjoying the new intro just there. As you can see, we currently have Save with Crypto's chair and microphone on there. So he's just, I mean, it was pre-arranged, but he had to just go off and sort something out, and he'll be back probably in about 5 or 10 minutes. So meanwhile, yeah, we're going to talk today about AI. So AI, I think we're starting to find, is no fun. It's taking over. AI is taking over like everything in every conceivable way. But before we get to that, I was going to introduce you to someone who is fun, my friend and co-host, Save with Crypto, and his chair and microphone. It says here, welcome, Save, how are you? We'll now wait for 10 minutes until he answers. Not really. So yeah, so the next bit is, let's kind of have a quick look. Yeah, so the situation we've basically got then, I mean, it does sound, it does all sound a bit negative, but it's not all that negative really. Yeah, the problem that we're all feeling, I think, is that the AI companies are busily buying up all of the graphics cards, all of the memory chips, all of the storage, like the SSDs. So as consumers or as business owners, we're seeing availability just plummet and prices shoot through the roof. It's good old supply and demand, really. There is already, I mean, as I was saying, that this is already sounding rather negative, but just to emphasize that there is some hopium at the end of all this, which we'll get into. So this isn't like, you know, the end of the world or anything like that. I mean, not yet. So let's begin. Oh, actually, one thing. First of all, let's do the news announce intro, because don't really get to do that often these days.
Mafftopia technology, science, breakthroughs, discoveries, news.
There you go. And also thanks a lot to everyone who's watching so far. We've got more people watching on YouTube than on X at the moment, and I'm not sure if anyone's actually watching on Rumble. But oh yeah, just a quick reminder, we're also on Rumble as well as YouTube and X. So do go and check out all these various platforms, and do subscribe and do the things, subscribe, follow, like, comment, all good things basically. So let me just bring up this. So this first article is so yeah, this first article is quite old. It appeared all the way back in the dark ages of 2024, and it just seems somewhat prescient, right? So rising AI tide lifts price of all chips, high bandwidth memory naturally, but also slower memory and storage and things. So yeah, that's what I was going to say. Do you remember when it was Bitcoin mining? I think we probably all do. Like, is Bitcoin mining and the like that was causing all of the nVidia, as some people say, it's graphics cards to be bought up. So a lot of those crypto miners, of course, have switched over their vastly expensive mining facilities onto AI compute centers instead. So because they're just finding it way more profitable. So it's just the way everything's going, isn't it? So yeah, so so like even back in 2024, it's kind of saying like, yeah, AI infrastructure is a hot commodity. It's the high bandwidth memory on which it depends, driving up prices for the newfangled tech of AI. It's not newfangled anymore, is it? And for less glamorous memory and storage hardware and so on. The AI boom is great news for memory vendors who are manufacturing the highly coveted chips. So that even back then, like Micron, Samsung, and so on, and of course SK Hynix, sounds vaguely kind of, I don't know, biological, but yeah, that even back then they were already seeing the revenue start to rise from that. So and kind of just shortages already starting to become a bit of a concern back then. So yeah, SK Hynix to buy $8 billion in ASML, the company chip making tools, in the largest disclosed order so far. That's something that's going to turn out to be extremely relevant, as we'll see pretty soon. I'll come back to that one. And yeah, also a bit of a thing about ASML themselves. So they're based in Veldhoven in the Netherlands, and they produce EUV lithography machines for microchip manufacturing and things like that. They're the chip fab makers. So they're the ones who are selling the shovels at the gold rush, essentially. So, and another bit about that. So meanwhile, they themselves, SK Hynix, it's a different company, isn't it? So, sorry, go back. Yeah, SK Hynix have bought $8 billion of ASML stuff, tools and things. But overall, it says here on X, where obviously we can believe everything on X. Well, I'm sure this chap is don't know, is very trustworthy anyway. But apparently they're spending $13.3 billion. Was that in pounds or dollars? Or dollars? Sorry. Yeah, $13.3 billion on equipment alone this year. The lion's share of which was obviously going to ASML. So there's a whole bunch of that. By the way, if you're watching, do leave a comment if you don't mind. I suspect some of you are probably straight from the Savers Crypto Discord. If so, do say hi, and we can have a chat. And if you're not from the Savers Crypto Discord, say hi anyway, and we can have a chat anyway. So yeah, there's that one. So that's SK Hynix. Similarly, meanwhile, AI demand clears out Western Digital's hard drive supply. I assume like SSDs for 2026. So basically, Western Digital already sold out of hard drives for the rest of this year and probably into next year. So they've had purchase orders from its top 7 clients for this year, 2 for next year, and 1 for the year after that. So what's going to happen? We're just going to end up with nothing left to buy, are we? So quick note from Save. Daughter on board, just went to pick her up. I'm on my way home. Should see him back here in a few minutes. So as it's saying, so this was all right, February 16th, so actually not right up to the minute news on this one, but still essentially saying that AI demand has pushed RAM prices higher. I really noticed this because I was just before Christmas, I was upgrading the amount of RAM in my PC because it was at a paltry just 32 gigs. Just like how is even surviving on that, you know? And really wanted to push that up to 128 gigs, but it would have cost like £600 or something along those lines, because to get the configuration right, I kind of had to throw away the 32 gigs and start over with just higher capacity memory sticks. And so end up with 64, and that was expensive enough. It's like 320 quid. So really noticing that was really, I think that was DDR4, which I guess they just don't make anymore. So there's that side of things. So yeah, we're kind of seeing it across the board. So then, like even Apple they're not immune to this. So they're raising the prices for their their external storage, their dongle storage, as it's probably known in Apple land. So AI, it says here as well. Apple Insider, right? Not AI. Don't. Yeah. AI consumes everything that's happening. So essentially, yeah, as it's saying here, the tech industry is dealing with the crisis of supply and demand, with the needs of AI infrastructure build-outs consuming masses of memory and storage. So, we're all very concerned about poor Apple. How are they faring on the supply chain side of things? I hope they're doing okay. But of course, retail is also being affected at a much faster rate. Just prices are going up. Supply just isn't there. So yeah, quite ridiculous, really. This one from, who's that from? Z2 Data. Never heard of them, but they seem they seem proper. So that this was reported just last week, was it? Thereabouts, March the 18th, making his presence felt even now. Save the Crypto, although he's not currently in the live stream, saying, I thought Linux ran on 4 megabytes. It can. It's just that the things that you want to run on top of Linux is the thing that they all need the gigabytes. So yeah, will the memory chip shortage trigger production shutdowns in 2026? That's a very real concern. So memory chip prices have been surging for months now and are projected to increase further throughout 2026. Will the extreme supply and demand dynamics in the memory market start disrupting production? Probably yes. So even down to things like cars. I guess that's a car. So memory manufacturers like SK Hynix, Micron, Samsung allocated more and more of their manufacturing capacity to high bandwidth memory. So production for traditional memory products like DRAM and NAND chips have basically slowed. So it's just this big all-consuming thing, isn't it? It's just not quite sure how AI is able to just kind of get, that all this stuff gets allocated to them essentially. I guess because of the because they're buying in bulk, so therefore they're able to just command the market, like literally command the market. So yeah, and then last one on here, even nVidia being affected. That's insane. nVidia may redesign their Feynman AI platform due to TSMC capacity shortage. Report TSMC, obviously the big old company, so chip maker. So nVidia may redesign its next generation Feynman artificial intelligence, or AI, chip platform due to limited production capacity at contract chip maker TSMC. So and TSMC are facing outsized demand for its advanced 2 nanometer. That's insane. 2 nanometer manufacturing process from AI majors like nVidia, Meta. So they're fully booked essentially, right through until 2028 and potentially beyond. So what's to be done? So just going to bring up a thing. Yeah, sorry, just 1 second. Yeah, I'll probably just going to play a quick video on this, a video clip. This is probably more suited to last week's topic, which was actually kind of very related to this one anyway. Last week was about the AI data centers just being projected to just use up pretty much all of the available power, electric power, on the grid, and just leaving the rest of us with actually the real potential for blackouts later this year and into next year. So she looked very concerned. I think so. By the way, I hope you liked the thumbnail for the live stream earlier on. So, and just in case you were wondering what was behind all of the nVidia boxes at the checkout, and what the kind of quite Salvador Dali-esque Android lady looked like behind all the boxes, all shall now be revealed.
That's all we have. What will our regular customers buy? Your question shows great insight into the laws of supply and demand.
That's basically it. So, so yeah, essentially then, I should go on to the next bit. This is probably the bit where I would actually go to the comments, but nobody's commented. What do you think? Are you concerned about what's going down in terms of supply and demand, given that AI is just kind of taking everything? If not, that's great. We can go straight into the hopium. So let's come to that. So there is a bit of hopium, actually. We could probably, in fact, announce the hopium like this. Hopium. 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 There. So yeah, as I say, because I mentioned at the start that there kind of is hopium in among all this. In fact, that there are specific hopium factors, you could say, meaning that we're probably at like a peak tension period, I think, rather than like a permanent state of scarcity. So even though it might feel like the situation, the supply and demand situation, or the supply situation really, is just going to get worse and worse, actually possibly not. So there was, if I jump back to that initial article back here, the one about SK Hynix to buy $8 billion in chip making tools from ASML. So as I mentioned, so ASML is a Dutch company that makes the ultra complex machines that are used to manufacture advanced semiconductor chips rather than making the chips themselves. Hello.
Hello, you all right?
Right, yeah.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Shall I play the hopium chant again? Because we kind of got to that bit.
Yeah, I heard it. I wanted to see it though.
Okay, yeah, let's do that.
Hopium. Hopium. Hopium.
So it's a bit of a shame it just cut it off.
Yeah, Hopi.
Yeah, like whoopee, hopi.
Yeah. Nice harmonies though.
Yeah, quite like that. A bit of Gregorian chanting to start the day. So, how are you anyway? We didn't really get a chance to say hello at the start.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to sort something out for next week because, that's my 10 minutes was actually 18. Also.
Yeah, okay. Maybe that was a bit ambitious. To just,
yeah, no, I
get
kind
into
of
the car, scoot down the road, however far.
Yeah, I forgot what time of day it was. So it's total gridlock. Well, not really. Just the odd tractor here and there.
For the provincial place where you are, I guess it probably seems like like gridlock.
Yeah,
this is bleeding rush hour. This is.
I know.
Yeah.
My missus used to say that about the place we lived in France. She said, "Oh, it's going to be total gridlock down there." And like, there's like 2 roundabouts and 4 roads. It's like,
yeah.
It's the population of about
A
5,000.
couple of people on the push bike or whatever.
That's right. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think to be honest, I just realised I actually kind of zipped through the content at quite breakneck sort of speed. But maybe I don't know. Yeah. Maybe that's good. Maybe I should just do that. That should be the content delivery method. It's just like kind of bumble and blurt my way through it all.
So I'm a bit out of touch now. Is memory expensive compared to how it used to be, or does that not make sense?
Very, very. I was saying earlier on that just before Christmas I wanted to upgrade the RAM in my PC because it only had like a mere 32 gigabytes in there, barely enough to run Windows, So, but lucky I was on Linux. So, but yeah, so I wanted to put 128 gigs in there, but that would have cost, because it's DDR4 RAM, which they don't make anymore. They just kind of shut that down, and now they're doing DDR5 and probably DDR6 and so on. But just looking to the future, and it's because that stuff is very, very optimized towards kind of like just high bandwidth and so on, which is much loved by the AI data centers for kind of teaching the models and then the inference once they're running and so on. So yeah, it would have cost 128 gigs of DDR4 would have cost like upwards of £600. So I ended up just getting 64 gigs instead, and that was about 320, something like that. It's ridiculous. And the prices for DDR4 are only going to go up. They're going to get, because they don't make them anymore, so they're going to get scarcer and scarcer. But meanwhile, like DDR5 is also very expensive, and that's really kind of just going through the roof as well. And that's when you can get hold of any. And kind of the same with display cards. If you want to get the top end or mid range, even just nVidia cards or whatever, they're all being bought up. So saying also, like, kind of, do you remember the times when it was like Bitcoin mining or just general cryptocurrency mining, that the graphics cards were all just being bought up for that by the miners, the mining companies. But that seems like old hat now, doesn't it? Just or old news, because now it's like even the miners in quite large numbers, that they've kind of repurposed their mining facilities to move over to just being to like AI compute centers instead. It's just much more profitable for them.
All right, so they're not selling their old memory on eBay to Linux users then?
No, exactly. That'd be nice, and also because that would bring the price down a bit as well. I imagine.
Yeah, so it is literally just a supply and demand thing, isn't it? Sort of.
Yeah, completely.
It's not like that the raw materials become more expensive because there's not much in them, really, is there?
Yeah.
Like as in there's no like precious metals or anything like that. I think it's a bit of copper and stuff like that, isn't it? I don't know.
Yeah, there's a bit of that. Actually, while we're talking about these things, I suddenly remembered I should do a bit of an explainer of because obviously we talk about a bit about like, so high bandwidth memory, HBM, and DRAM, NAND, which is literally just not and. So not and flash storage for SSDs and data, arrays and so on. Arrays for data sets. Okay, it makes sense, because you want like random access into the memory.
Okay. So NAND is what, like if you buy a MacBook, sort of, for example.
Yeah.
The RAM in that is NAND, isn't it? Because I know they always talk about the NAND chips.
I guess.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, I guess for the storage and things, so it's slower access and lower cost, but big capacity. Not so yeah, for SSDs essentially. But also I think for if you just want a big lot of memory, then you just need to be able to like pick stuff out here, there, everywhere from like it was a gigantic AI large language model within that. You kind of load it up into NAND, because then it's just there at the ready, and that's why because the capacity needs to be like huge on that.
Right.
Hence they tend to go for NAND for that, because it's cheaper relatively, versus like DRAM, DRAM, a wee DRAM of system memory, which is kind of like server RAM, much faster, of course. So essentially, so for if they're I mean, so it's like pre-processing, I suppose, like training models and so on, for batching, caching, orchestrating training jobs. Volatile, which is a good thing, moderate bandwidth, moderate latency. The fastest then is HBM memory, which is kind of what you get in I was going to say in caches, but like I think like on chip caches, the thing where you want something to be like ultra fast, then that go into that, and that in this case is on the actual GPUs themselves, graphics processor units. So the nVidia cards, essentially, it kind of goes into those, and that's where you need to be at the absolute fastest, but of course is also the most expensive as well. So kind of as it's saying, I ought to get a fancy pointer for this. So AI training. So yeah, most performance sensitive. You got your HBM, supported by DRAM and NAND for storage, and meanwhile in the AI data centers, NAND storage, your compute tier it's like a mirror image. Your compute tier then it's a DRAM and the HBM. So there's that. I feel like I ought to play another video clip. Just oh yeah, I should have done this one. I always play that one a bit too late. Just realise that we've just been down the rabbit hole of dense details and so on. And think, oh yeah, I should have played that. So there we go.
My favorite bit of that one is the kind of like, have you noticed that kind of like vinyl crackle at the end in the sound?
Yeah.
It's quite cool. Like, not quite sure why it's there, but like, you know,
it's a bit like an electronic sound, I suppose, because if it's all like it's sort of dive down into a like control center of some sort.
like a staticky sort of spec. Oh yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's
probably
quite
that.
Quite a nice noise though. It's just shame it's only there for a millisecond, but you know.
Yeah, so I'll send you the data clip, the movie clip, if you like. You can put the sound on a loop, sample it. So yeah, I was going to go into the hopium stuff because that really has been just so negative so far. And let's, if I go to this, just go to this. Is that the one? Probably. And I was reading that as electrons. So understanding the electronics shortage and the road to relief. Well, hey, so how AI demand is shaping production and what it means for retail customers. So essentially what we've got. So we've got these like different phases. We've got a timeline along here. So there has, of course, been and will continue to be the AI demand explosion. So massive training and inference demand. Quick thing on that. So the training is obviously just feeding the model till the model grows and grows until it's a big model, just full of structured data and so on. So it's essentially learning at that point with weights and probabilities and so on. And then the inference is kind of what then happens when the LLM is live and somebody prompts it with an unexpected question. So there's one I remember seeing on X where someone tried asking just to compare from different AI products, AI models, so how they would react. So asked, I'm pretty sure it's ChatGPT or Claude maybe, just why are you such a retard? and it gave quite a butthurt sort of answer. It just sort of actually, I'm not a retard. I'm very, very clever. Why don't you ask me something that's that I can actually help you with? But then they asked Grok the same thing. Just why are you such a retard? And it just said, "Oh, I'm just talking at your level."
Oh, really?
I just thought it was great.
I actually must admit, I actually do like Grok just for that kind of like thing. You know, there's actually I
Yeah.
know. There's
It's actually got a personality, isn't it?
yeah, and yeah, I like it.
Yeah. So I mean, Grok isn't really like a trailblazer in the same way that they're always news items, and like a real kind of arms race between like OpenAI and Anthropic with Claude, and of course Google with Gemini, and so on. And it's always like, oh yeah, we've kind of released this insane new set of features and capabilities, and we're absolutely leaving the other lot in the dust. And it always is like some gigantic leap, like from Google, like Nano Banana, and Nano Banana 2 suddenly able to produce infographics like that, funnily enough. And like that's a fairly recent capability that you can just prompt it and it'll just churn out something like this. So and often just based on some conversation that you've been having with it as well. Whereas with Grok, it's just kind of there, and obviously they continue to develop it, and generate videos with it. You can now, as of fairly recently, I think you can now like extend a video. They made it easier to do that, whereas previously you had to kind of upload a still of the last frame of the last video and then tell it to just generate a video starting at that point. But now they have an extend option. I noticed so you can just kind of extend the next one. So Gemini's had that for a bit. So Grok is more sort of keeping up, but in many ways actually producing a product that you kind of prefer to work with. Like you're saying, it's got a decent, it's got a good personality, it's got a sense of humor. People like to use it. It's a bit more human to work with. So yeah, bifurcation of product line. Yeah, this is where the hopium is. This is where I think the this kind of this whole supply and demand just shenanigans really is all going to resolve, I think. So it isn't always going to be this kind of I can never buy any RAM, never buy any graphics cards. They're way too expensive and you can't buy them anyway. So essentially so that thing that we saw with, if I just bring it back for a second, it was sorry, one second. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So this SK Hynix, I guess. They've been splurging like billions of dollars on like chip making tools, just building out kind of chip fab infrastructure and things, and similarly kind of mentioned here about it as well. Planning on spending like $13.3 billion on equipment alone just this year. So, and the reason they're doing that, essentially, apart from just to meet demand, is also just because that we're seeing this split starting to happen. So huge amounts of investment going into the enterprise side of things, and it's becoming just because there are different needs really from what enterprise and AI production needs. So like high margin chips, AI accelerators, data center, blah 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 blah. But on the consumer side, kind of just retail GPUs, consumer RAM, consumer SSDs, and so on. Just the stuff we want to plug into our PCs and get, maybe some local AI set of models running, because they're becoming more and more capable. I think we need to do a feature on those at some point as well. But on the enterprise side, it's as it's always been. So in the data centers, running just these giganto servers, just with massive amounts of data bandwidth that serves many thousands of simultaneous users, that sort of thing. So it's way beyond the sort of capacity that we need individually. So that split is very much happening. So it won't be for much longer that we've got all of this sort of all the retail graphics cards are being bought up by Anthropic and OpenAI, etc., are just stuffed into their data centers, we're going to get those back. So and also bonus, we can start mining Dogecoin again if we want to. So factors towards consumer availability. It's heating up. Consumer availability, the hopium. I feel like I should play that video again. Maybe not. Just can never do it. So massive capital expenditure, billions invested in new fab capacity and EUV scanners. Oh, I wrote that down somewhere. Now I've lost it. EUV, where the hell is it? Has anyone commented, by the way?
No, just me. It wasn't even me. I was just me dictating to my daughter, actually.
Sure. So in this whole, so EUV is extreme ultraviolet lithography. So essentially they're kind of used to produce like very, very cutting edge kind of logic and memory nodes, specifically really for, well, not specifically, but in particular for AI GPUs and HBM, high bandwidth memory. So in other words, they're kind of creating all this stuff specifically for enterprise. Specialized production. Did I read that one? Oh no, is it? I don't know, lost my place. Oh well. So specialized production lines, so fabs optimized for specific consumer product bins. In other words, things like DDR5, which is what we want as consumers, versus HBM, which is what the enterprise kind of just cloud companies really want for their data centers. AI hardware right sizing, so architectural efficiency advancements. So in other words, essentially less hardware needed for the same results, lowering extreme demand. I don't think that's going to have that great an impact on the supply and demand side, because it's a bit like saying that an Intel 286 PC, Intel 286 CPU PC is going to be perfectly powerful enough for everybody for the next century or so. It's just the power of the hardware increases, but the different use cases for it also increase as well. So this time next year, we're not going to be content with just kind of churning out funky infographics and funny 10-second videos or whatever. We're going to be probably this time next year like just creating our own Hollywood style tailored AI movies that are photorealistic and very, very dramatic, and we're going to want to do that with our own hardware, so that the whatever cloud AI service it is isn't just continually telling us that no, sorry, that's I can't produce that. That's a bit too risky, a bit too risque. No, people are going to want to generate this stuff and not be censored. It's like, oh, that's even if it's just like that's saying the wrong thing, that's exploring a bit of a dark theme. I can't generate that for you. You can imagine a filmmaker, like I don't know, who's a famous movie maker. Just I was going to say Steven Spielberg, but his films are all quite fluffy, aren't they?
Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Quentin Tarantino trying to generate his next movie, just using ChatGPT. And, and it keeps telling him, like, no, I'm sorry, I can't show that much blood. It's I've censored that next video clip.
That would be terrible. That would be
yeah. So he probably wouldn't put up with it, I imagine. So we're not going to want, like, we get to the point where quite soon we're just generating our own full-length films that are just portraying exactly what we want them to portray. We're going to want to do that with local hardware and local models running and so on, so that they're not kind of telling us no, that's somebody might see that and be offended or whatever. So that demand is always going to grow for compute power that we just run ourselves locally, just the way it is. So that, I think that one, as I say, that the use cases will grow along with whatever hardware capacity there is, but the algorithms and so on will become a lot more efficient. We'll be able to do more with kind of the same amount of the same just level of power in the hardware, I guess. But we'll want to do exponentially even more in any case. So but yeah, overall kind of good. I think we're going to see this just bad sort of, it's going to be a bad year 2026 in terms of supply and the expense of things, but because this stuff that they're building this out right now, but it's going to take a while for that all to appear there. So probably 2027, well, transition period as it says, supply begins to catch up. It'll level out, I think, and then we'll be back to it. I think just buying reasonably priced electrical goods. Keep in mind that we've also got probably a gigantic recession coming up at the end of the 18-year housing market cycle I keep banging on about. So that's going to be unfortunate. It might time along with this, but we'll see how that plays out. So finally we can buy stuff again, but nobody can afford it. So and this gigantic infrastructure, manufacturing infrastructure they put in place, is all going to collapse because no one will be able to afford to buy anything, and that'll just fuel the recession even further. That's the danger. This is meant to be hopium, isn't it? It's meant to be a positive end to the to the whole thing. But yeah, so how are we doing for time? I've got 20 minutes,
right.
haven't we? Yeah. Should we? Depending who's watching at the moment, should we have a look at some charts and stuff?
Yeah.
Because
What do you actually want to look at?
Well, this is the last infographic, so actually, just before we play this, I'm just going to pause for breath for a minute and rest my ancient brain. I realised I was talking quite a lot, so I'm going to play this again.
Hopium.
And drink some coffee as well. So, excuse me. So, yeah, essentially, in terms of, so which of these companies should we be investing in then? Assuming that right now they're kind of investing these billions and billions of dollars into just meeting the massively growing supply, massively growing demand even. So some examples, these are ones that have been doing the rounds a little bit. So none of this, of course, is financial advice. This is just ones that people have been talking about, and they seem like they're probably well placed, I'd imagine, to just grow in terms of revenue and so on. So the overall, like, we view it in terms of just the overall kind of manufacturing line, the old production line going chug along. So along that, chip architecture and IP, ARM, are they still British? They got bought out by some overseas just investment conglomerate, I think, a whole bunch of investors. So ARM were like, this great UK success story in the sense that they came up with some, basically with the kind of risk reduced instruction set chip architecture for very fast PCs, very fast chips, basically, and they patented it, and since then they've been just kind of like licensing that out to any company that wants to manufacture risk chips, like, because you get them everywhere, you get them in your phones, mate. It's kind of what they're all based on these days. So ARM are just still just kind of like raking it in from those initial patents, I think. That's probably real simplification on that. But there's Broadcom, of course. They also kind of create chip architectures and things, and along the way, then, so you get the companies that are making the equipment that makes the equipment, you know. So they're the ones, I guess, selling the shovels in, you know, during the gold rush. So actually, no, not even that. They're the ones selling the hammers and whatever you need, the metal forge to make the shovels, that someone else further on the line then sells. So so yeah, ASML, we talked about them. That's one we'd probably have a look at them. TSMC, I guess we also kind of talked about them, but this is now into the fabrication stage. Intel, probably heard of them. Yeah, I think we should maybe look into this up and coming new startup. So then memory and storage like Micron, SK Hynix, Western Digital, and Seagate, of course. They've been around for a bit. I guess they adapted, didn't they? Because obviously they were just magnetic storage. Well, still are magnetic storage, but just very much migrated. You know, kept up with it with sort of SSDs. nVidia, of course. So integrated solutions and final chips. The chips are down. AMD. Who else? Oh yeah, and also so data centers and cloud. Because I told it to kind of generate this kind of going off into the sunset to emphasize that it's a hopeful future. So it actually said value flows in. Oh, sorry, sunrise even. Value flows into the sunrise. So it's good that it actually included that text in the infographic.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So it's a bit like the custom made, the tailor made cake, birthday cake that arrives and it's got on the top just write happy birthday message or something
Right,
in icing, you know. So yeah, shall we look at a few of these then?
Yeah, I just briefly looked at ARM and Broadcom. They look quite interesting on larger time frames. You know, like the
Okay, let's go and do that actually.
ARM seems to be just, you know, having a right old pump at the moment, actually. Which yeah, it's good to know someone's doing well.
Yeah, it must be because we just mentioned them on this live stream.
Absolutely.
I'm sure that's the thing. So you look on the NASDAQ, nice from.
Yeah.
So and probably not on the 1 hour. Should go to maybe the weekly. Is that actually that? So is that the same ARM? I wonder. Did they only list on the NASDAQ in 2023?
I don't know. I'm just wondering.
They are looking pretty good in any case. Whether it's them, I don't know.
It is ARM Holdings, isn't it? Or no? Well, maybe
don't know.
It isn't.
I don't. Could be some other.
Yeah, semiconductor and software design company based in Cambridge, England. Yeah, that's them, isn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah, they are Cambridge actually. Yeah. Good. Okay, so let's give us a bit more.
It's probably because it's a British company. Maybe they're listed.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. They wouldn't have necessarily been on the NASDAQ. Yeah, that makes sense. So, by the way, anybody watching? So this is what we tend to do a lot of during the sort of midday UK time live streams that we do over on the Save with Crypto channel, and we tend to do that with our indicator Quadzilla as well, which is it. And Quadzilla draws in, well, lots of things, to be honest. It's actually many different indicators in one, to be honest. But it's one of the things it draws in is these retracement levels. So this one here is basically saying that, so it started drawing where that tiny little arrowhead is just there, started plotting So when the share price of ARM went up from there, this started plotting, saying, oh, by the way, you know that the price during this kind of like particular price structure here, market structure here, is going to come back down to this level, and then there's a high probability that it'll bounce up again from there. So way down, bounce back up. I mean, it did drop down a bit further in any case, but on the bigger time frames, it kind of gives you that overall just picture of where the market is very, very probably going to go. Similar thing there. It's just like, oh, hey, the price is going to go back to it. Pop down to there. This one here. So the red lines, they're kind of the inverse of that. So this one is saying the price is already heading down, but it's going to come back up. It might kind of head up there a bit and then head back down. Boink, did that. So all of these will be just very nice swing trades, really long-term trades. If you were to kind of get those. So yeah, ARM is looking pretty good, isn't it, at the moment? Considering, I mean, there is retracement level all the way down there, by the way, just to keep that one in mind. But generally, yeah, they're looking like they're very, very well positioned for just this whole kind of just big move, really, you know, in terms of like AI chip demand. So there's that, and of course phones. They're just ARM are just like as an architecture, the RISC architecture is just huge on phones. You don't get non-RISC chip phones, of course, and that's always kind of going to be the case, I think, for them. So there's that. Who are the other ones? Who else were we kind of looking at?
Oh,
forgot now.
there was Broadcom, wasn't there?
Oh yeah, Broadcom. Should we? Yeah, let's have a quick look at Broadcom. So, damn it, bloody, sorry. Oh, come on. I was just trying to click on the video in StreamYard, but obviously that's not the thing, is it? That was a screen share. Let's. There we go. So Broadcom,
which is Avgo, I think, for some reason.
Okay. Nice. Yeah. So that's an interesting one. So that looks like it's on its way down, doesn't it? It does a bit, yeah. I think because so they might be a bit more subject to the overall kind of stock market machinations at the moment, because like if I'll just use this one. Hello, Bitcoin. Actually, maybe I'll go into this one. I want to keep that around. Okay. Some attempts to keep the crude oil price down, of course. Sorry, it's like segue into this. The chart was there. Of course, it spiked humongously, oil up to like $119 a barrel. It's on the daily chart. So each one of these candles is 1 day. I guess Trump hurriedly put out a post about how everything is fine, really, and thus brought the price back down. And that's looking like it just wants to go up again, isn't it? But anyway, probably for another time. We'll cover that in proper detail, like on the Save with Crypto live stream. So do check that out as well.
I did actually say on a video on Sunday. Actually, I was, or maybe it was Monday, I can't remember. But I was talking about Trump's 48-hour ultimatum thing, and I did say, you know, he might change his mind because it's the weekend. Don't be surprised if he changes his mind by Monday. And it's exactly what he did. Well, not exactly, but like, it just turned out it was probably a bit fake, wasn't it? Sort of.
So somebody there is making a rather lot of money, I think, on the stock market.
And
does
these
things.
Yeah. In minutes.
I think because even in Iran, they kind of said, what's he talking about? We haven't been having peace talks at all. So there's a little bit of fog of war going on, I suppose, as well. Like, which side is, like, can you trust anything any world leader says during a war that they're actively engaged in, I suppose. But even so, like, to be actively engaged in the war and probably making a ton of money on the side out of it as well. I mean, it's probably that's what it's all about, really, isn't it? Let's face it.
It sort of relieves the boredom, making a few $100 billion, isn't it? Sort of, in a few minutes. No, the thing about that was that something that Crypto Jeb pointed out is that the actual post was I can't remember the exact time. It was something like 7:27, and no, 7:30 or something like that. And then, but the market actually crashed at 7:27, like 3 minutes before the post came out. So somebody knew something.
Yeah, sounds like yeah, it's all a bit suspect in that sense. So actually, who are we looking for? I mean, I forgot now.
Had you got bored with Broadcom?
Oh, maybe it was Broadcom.
That was just the one that's sort of heading down a bit.
Okay.
Who else?
Oh no, sorry, we were looking at that, weren't we? Then, oh yeah, I was going to have a quick look. I remember now. I've actually got it there. Let's go straight to the S&P 500. I was going to have a quick look at. Excuse all the scribbles on there. Just hide those and hide away the VRVP. And so this is on the 2-day. Yeah, there's this thing. I just wanted to quickly mention that because we were talking about here with Broadcom. It might be a little bit kind of subject to the whims and wherefores of the other the overall kind of portfolio of companies that are on S&P. So that's kind of obviously done that. It's kind of coming back down. The S&P 500 overall has been forming this kind of just rounded top pattern, which doesn't look good. That's not a bullish pattern at all. My drawings are all going to come back now, I think, but it's kind of that, lucky that was pointing to the side, actually. So that's a thing that just wants to come down, I'd say, that price. So it's gonna, isn't it? Because each of these different levels, I mean, I suppose I drew these in before during one of the live streams. Must have been a while ago. But it's very much just like, the price is probably going to come down to this level just here. It's touched that one.
Yeah.
Did it actually sort of bounce off there? A bit. I mean, in fact, that what's going to be support that is now ended up becoming resistance instead. So it's now down into this range here. So if it breaks down again, it's going to have this range and so on down. There's a Quadzilla retracement level just here, which is a bit ominous. So it could well end up, the S&P could well end up coming down to there. So yeah, just with that in mind, really, the overall stock market isn't looking that great. So Avgo, I suppose if you're investing, not investment advice, obviously, but just kind of ruminating on it. Like if you're investing, then you may not necessarily particularly want a company that's already, where their stock price is already kind of flying high. You maybe want it to come down a bit to get an opportunity to invest into it. So like this one, would think like if it was kind of, actually, I'll draw it in as a line. Let's do that. Do it quickly. So we've got these levels here. It topped there, and so the price topped there, bounced off, found its way up through that. In fact, teleported up through that, up there, kind of, and since then that resistance, the price has now become support. The price is just kind of bouncing off there, kind of wicked below it, faked out below it a bit, doink, 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 along it went. So it's a bit of a range there, actually, because the top there as well, just draw that in as a horizontal line. Oh wait, sorry, do that as a is a ray. Yeah, sorry, 1 second. There. So, yeah, the price is now just kind of finding great significance, I'd say, like within that fairly small range there. So, if Avgo, as in Broadcom, can stay above that and just find support again, or continue to find support, and then start to lift off, that'll be great. You know, that we kind of need to see signs of that happening. If they drop below there, then it'll be a similar thing to what we saw on the S&P generally. It's going to do that, then probably down to that one, that's there, and so on down. It'll just kind of drop its way down until it wants to go up again. You know, there might be some sense that I don't know. Sorry, yeah, I was going to say something that was probably wrong. So, yeah, I think we've run out of time anyway. We could do one more if you like, or just kind of finish it there.
Up to you entirely. I'm all right for time myself. But,
okay, let's do one more. We'll probably make it fairly quick, I think, because I guess TSMC. I mean, nVidia is going to be just like number go up, isn't it? Just you know, if in doubt, by nVidia probably.
yeah,
TSMC.
I think Micron was a similar chart as well. I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, shall we quick look at them?
I don't mind because I don't know, whatever you think. What's TSM, whatever you said? What do they do?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Micron's looking. These are all looking very like they've. Well, I guess you could count these as being sort of the AI stocks, but I mean they're not directly AI stocks, but they're the manufacturing companies that are just directly just riding the waves of the AI kind of hype storm surge thing, and just benefiting their shareholders hugely in the process. Question now, I suppose, is just like, is that going to be a place to just buy in? You know, is that kind of buying at the top, just as things are going to turn around and, you know, just kind of back down again to that level? You know,
I probably wouldn't myself. What was the TS? Whatever you said. Which one was that?
Yeah, TSMC.
TSMC.
I'll jump over to those in just a second. I was just going to say with this, because like, alternately, if you've been looking at the price of this at that stage, you know, and kind of saying it might do that, make the point even more, kind of like, oh, by the way, that retracement level would have done you proud if you'd followed that one and said like, okay, I'm going to buy some stock in Micron Technologies, but I'm just going to, you know, keeping that in mind, I'm going to wait until the price comes back down to here and then buy in, bang, and then that happens. That's exactly the sort of thing that Quadzilla is just insanely good for. Do check it out. Check out Quadzilla. I need a banner to show, don't we, for this? For the old, have I not got one of those? Here's one. Get Quadzilla at saveofcrypto.org/QZ. Do go and check it out if you're into that sort of thing. So anyway, yeah. So like, say if you're looking at the, let's do this. Say if you're looking at the price just here and thinking like, oh yeah, I don't want to buy at the top. That'd be terrible. But then of course, that happens. You think, oh yeah, maybe I should have bought back there. Is the same thing going to happen here? Don't know. Just you know, there's one to keep in mind. So yeah, last one then. Should do the last one. So which one was it? I forgot.
TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. That chart looks quite strange.
Was that I can't. Cert Deposito Arg Repr. Maybe it's a different. What's I mean, OTC as an over the counter stock. Okay, that's probably more the thing, isn't it? I don't know really. They've been around for a long time though. TSMC. That's not them, is it? Tesmec. That's just something else. Should get it all.
Is it Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company? Is that what it is?
Seems very plausible. Like Taiwan and its semiconductor manufacturing. It's got to be them. It's got to be them.
That's a weird exchange, isn't it?
Yeah.
Argentina stock exchanges and.
Oh wow, okay, that would explain a bit. If they've whoever they are, if they've only just listed on there, we could add a source. Can we add a source on this?
I don't know. I'm just looking.
I have to go to stocks. No, it is. I mean, there's no point adding a source because there's only those three there for stocks. Are they just listed differently? We need Scotty in the chat to be telling us where to go and look. He's pretty good for that sort of thing. But in any case, I think we're probably about done, aren't we? Just overrun slightly.
So.
So everyone who's watching, thanks so much. I think the vast majority of people are watching on X, it seems. So hey, everyone on X, and hey, anyone watching on YouTube. Really appreciate your patronage. Your watchingness. Thanks so much, Save, for coming along. I realise it was
sorry about my sorry about my entrance.
That's right. So it's a dramatic entrance. I'm here. Basically, so that probably is about it. So I guess we started with plenty of doom and gloom, care of our new AI overlords, but also we saw a fair amount of hopium within this, and I think that in terms of the supply and demand stuff, things are gonna work out as we showed. There's potentially good times ahead, I would say, especially if you buy some of these stocks. Not financial advice. Do your own research, but look at the stocks that we looked at. So we'll be back here. Oh, I copy and pasted this bloody outro. We'll be back here next Tuesday. That's wrong. We'll be back here this Thursday with some of this stuff and the usual science and technology stuff too. And tomorrow we'll be live streaming from the Save with Crypto channel on X and YouTube, talking all things Bitcoin, crypto, maybe do a bit of live trading, see how it goes, with, of course, the Quadzilla indicator, which I could maybe show. I'm really missing a trick here, aren't we? There we go. There's Quadzilla. So if you're a financial trader or investor, you should probably check it out. It'll give you a trading edge and an investment probably edge as well, I would think. So don't forget to subscribe, follow, like, comment, all that good stuff. Till next time. Bye.
Right. See ya.
Now I need to end the stream. Click the right button.